YouTube family. Don't get me wrong, you are all my family. I love and play many different types of games, from sports games to first person shooters to RPGs. But for this commentary, I really got to speak to my immediate family. I got to speak to my heart on this one. And when I say that, I am talking to the fighting game community, because fighting games give me a different type of passion, a different type of adrenaline, a different type of rush from playing fighting games that I don't get from any other type of game. Now, don't get me wrong, RPGs are a very, very close second when it comes to, great RPGs like Kingdom Hearts and Jack series. I mean, I really love those games, and even when it comes to playing, Mario 64 back in the day. But there is a competitive factor in fighting games that give them the edge over just playing different RPGs at high difficulties. And it's that competitive dynamic that I actually want to speak on today, because as a gamer who plays many different genres of gaming, I've come to the conclusion that fighting games take more skill and are more competitive than any other type of gaming, because they are competitive in the purest and rawest form of competition. See, when you're playing games like first-person shooters, when you're playing games like sports games, there are built-in factors that determine, or play a huge role in whether or not you're going to be successful. And those things get in the way of the simple question of, are you better than the person that you're playing against? Let's take Call of Duty for example. What makes a good Call of Duty player? Reaction time, being aware of your surroundings, being able to focus on multiple things at one time. These are pieces of a good Call of Duty player. But at the end of the day, a lot of what makes you successful on a game-to-game basis in first-person shooters are, what rank are you? What tools do you have at your disposal on a game-to-game basis? The higher your rank is, the better equipment you have, the better tools you have, the better perks you have to be successful. And it's those things that kind of take away from the raw pureness of that competition. Same thing with sports games. You can be a great NBA 2K player, but what also matters is who has the San Antonio Spurs and who has the 76ers. Those things are a huge factor in determining who will win that game. It's as simple as that, and I believe that fighting games have the least amount of those particular things when it comes down to it. Fighting games is just, you pick your favorite player, you pick who you put your hard work into and all your effort into, and I will pick who I have put all my effort into, and we will see who wins. And the special thing about fighting games is, especially ones like Mortal Kombat and Injustice, these 2D side-scrolling games, you really have one round. It's first to two, and you have one round to determine, this other person's play style. You have one round to determine, their tendencies and how they choose to play with that particular character. Because everyone's going to play with that character a little bit differently. And that's the fun thing about it. Fighting games are the closest thing that any video game can get to playing chess. Another beauty about fighting games is, fighting gamers play to win, they play to get better, and they play to be successful. So we don't have things in the fighting game community like trollers who are out just to kind of piss people off online. We don't have the run around and do nothing but knife type of people in fighting game communities. And that's beautiful. Because you know what? When those people do try to creep into the fighting game community, they are very, very quickly extinguished. They are very, very quickly dealt with. Because good players don't lose to players that they are legitimately better than. Like, I mean, sure, if the skill levels are close, you'll take a few rounds, they'll take a few rounds. But it's not like some of these other games where people can kind of lag or just bitch their way into victory. You really don't get that. And when you reach a certain level of skill, you suddenly become kind of immune to some of the things that you have to deal with, as far as people really thinking they can creep their way into our community and troll. Like, you have to be so quick-witted in fighting games, and that's what I love about it. Like, when I'm playing Call of Duty and I'm getting beat and I'm like, my god, I know that these players, they're not as good as me. But you know what? I just having a hard time finding my rhythm. But I'm completely comfortable in the first 2 or 3 minutes because I know that eventually I can hit my groove. You don't get that in fighting games. If that first round goes by and you haven't learned that opponent, you're gonna get taken out. You're gonna lose. And it's as simple as that. YouTube family. I know this video is long, but each point that I have made has driven me to this moment in the video where I can ask the question that after grinding and grinding and grinding and elevating your skills to the highest that they can possibly be for the moment, after putting in hours and hours and hours and thinking that, you know what, I may never actually get the timing of this combo down, let alone be able to use it against an opponent online. After going through all of this to become the player that you are at the moment, why is it so hard for us to simply respect our opponent? Why is it so hard for us to appreciate that another player is going through the same fight and the same adventure that we are, trying to be the best player that they can possibly be? It's crazy because in that regard, we are no different than any other type of gamer. I hold us at a tier above the rest, but when it comes to respecting and appreciating our opponent, we are just like every other type of gamer. Now, you would think that because we know the grind, we know the effort, we know how hard it is to move from one skill level to the next, and we just know how much time and exhaustion it goes to really trying to master a particular character, a particular combo, you would think that would give us a different level of appreciation for our opponent, regardless if they are on the level of us or better or whatever the case may be. You would think that knowing the grind and knowing the struggle, we could appreciate one another just a little bit more. But we live in a world where all gamers are worried about is dominance. All gamers are worried about is being able to showcase just how good they are. And don't get me wrong, after grinding as hard as we have to grind, yes, it is rewarding to really be able to show some guys, hey, you got a lot more work to do. I get that, and that's fine. But it's the fact that all people want to do is dominate. Just like in Call of Duty, people are so opposed to skill-based matchmaking because all they want to do is go 50-0 every single game. But where does the challenge come from? Is there nothing inside each gamer to say, man, I want to play against somebody who is going to challenge me. I want to play against somebody who's going to make me better as a player. True story. I was fighting against someone online, and I kid you not, we played 15 times and I lost all 15 times to this dude. But each and every game came down to the last 10-15% health, both of us. And it was just an amazing experience. But nobody wants that experience. People would rather play somebody that they know they can beat 30 times in a row just to make their statistics look good. And that's sad to me. I'm also not the one and done type. When I see an opponent and I feel like, wow, they should probably be beating me into the ground, I love facing that opponent over and over again so they can challenge me. But it seems like no one else is like that. How do y'all feel about how fighting gamers respect or don't respect their opponents? Get in that comment box and let me know, and I'll see y'all later.